The 2010 guidelines focus on counting and controlling calories. Science shows us that restrictive eating patterns in children and teenagers actually lead to an increased risk of obesity and other eating disorders. Already, there are men and women all over America, just like me, who are trying to compel their bodies to respond to a low-fat diet with increasingly lowered calories. Few of them will succeed. As a nation, we pay the price in rising healthcare costs, diminished quality of life, and loss of loved ones. In the meantime, the USDA continues to tighten its grip on food and nutrition policy in America. They tell us that if we want to fix the obesity crisis, it's up to us. Just eat less and move more. But that's not what the USDA really wants. Due to their own policies, food prices and production at the farm level are both flat. The only way to grow our agricultural sector is to increase processing. This is where the money is. If you look closely at the Eat Less recommendations in the guidelines, they are a veiled promotion of the foods that the USDA wants us to eat more of. So they take the fear the fat messages that are not based in science, and they use them to steer us away from minimally processed foods like eggs and meat. Instead, we are encouraged to buy enormously profitable, fortified and enriched products that are virtually devoid of nutrition until they are transformed by the miracles of modern chemistry to meet the USDA's definition of healthy. Sally has already explained that fat's an important nutrient, which it is, and the other two major calorie sources that we have are protein and carbohydrate. Here's my very brief nutrition lesson for you all. Protein is crucial to good health. You absolutely need it. Carbohydrates, this is from the IOM's macronutrient report. Carbohydrates are biologically unnecessary. Doesn't mean you don't have to eat them. I mean, just you don't need them if you don't want them. So they're there. If you like them, eat them. If you're addicted, eat them. So but you don't have to. So these are the foods that the USDA says we should eat less of. This is actually my breakfast on most mornings. This breakfast contains just the right amount of protein, no sugar, 10 total ingredients, all of which are pronounceable, and the whole meal costs less than $1. So for somebody on a student budget, this is a perfect meal. It's highly nutritious and it's cheap, and the USDA doesn't want me to touch it. From a meal like this, a larger percentage of that dollar that I spend is getting back to the farmer because less of it is going to packaging and processing. So here's a breakfast composed of the foods that the USDA thinks that we should eat more of. It contains very little protein, which you remember is crucial to good health. It contains over 40 grams of sugar. Now, I'm not even counting total carbohydrates. I'm just counting sugar here. It also contains over 40 ingredients, many of which I couldn't pronounce, and the whole meal costs over $2. Out of that $2, the farmer's just going to see a small percentage of it. Most of it will go to the food manufacturers who package and process the cheap grain and cereal products that it's made out of. Because the USDA doesn't really want us to eat less and move more. They want us to eat less and buy more. That's it. So that second breakfast, that's plant-based. That's what the guidelines recommend, filled with unpronounceable ingredients. Plant-based, low-fat frankenfood products are anything but natural. The massive monoculture crops from which these fake foods are made deplete our topsoil and poison our rivers with pesticide and fertilizer runoff. A tofu dog is not good for you. It's not good for the farmer. It's not good for the environment. Now, we know that the vegan movement and Oprah's Meatless Week and Michael Pollan's Eat Mostly Plant messages are all well-intentioned, but eating fewer animal products means eating more Monsanto products. That said, the Healthy Nation Coalition does not stand in opposition to either the food industry or to the humane treatment of animals. Both are crucial to the safe and adequate food supply that Americans deserve. But Americans also deserve to know the truth about nutrition. Our farmers deserve better support. Our land deserves better care. When the first dietary guidelines were created, our understanding of the relationship between nutrition, chronic disease, and the food environment was immature. We didn't know what would happen when we chose to commit ourselves to a single dietary approach directed by a single government agency. That agency could not have predicted the explosion of food products with lower fat content and higher sugars and starches and profit margins. And they could not have predicted the advances in science that would uncover not only the addiction-like process that compels us to gobble up those foods, but also the mechanism that reveals how these foods can change the expression of our genetic material and predispose a generation of children to obesity and diabetes. This agency could not have guessed that its recommendations would be especially devastating to minorities whom scientists believe may be genetically susceptible to the diseases related to a diet high in processed grains and cereal products. But now we know better. The influence of our dietary guidelines has greatly surpassed the assumptions surrounding the original mandates that gave the USDA the lead control over nutrition in our country. The guidelines have become a powerful policy tool with far-reaching consequences that not only affect our daily food choices and our health outcomes, but the health of our environment, our economy, and our future. No government agency should be given so much power with so few checks and balances. The USDA tells us that the guidelines were created with complete transparency. But what is most transparent is that their primary concern is to promote processed food products rather than protect the health of Americans. As the dietary guidelines have grown in importance, they have outgrown their tenure at the USDA. What is needed now is an independent, authoritative body, perhaps an Office of Food and Nutrition Policy, that can undertake the creation of the dietary guidelines with a full understanding of the complexity of human nutrition and its relationship to the environment, the economy, the health of the people, and the future of our nation. It is time to call this 30-year experiment to a halt. Echoing its most identifiable icon, the USDA's control of food policy is a pyramid scheme. And like pyramid schemes, there is no benefit for the consumer and the farmers at the bottom. Only those at the top, the giants of the food industry, stand to profit from this system. It is time to dismantle this pyramid and find a new home for the dietary guidelines. Thank you.